think trying to resolve things kind of humorously helps too. You're at least good with that. Of just being light. The other person essentially doesn't want to hurt the other because you're both in this car.
Yeah.
So consider when something happens that they really didn't mean to hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah, life's too short to be sad and too long to be sad. If you have 60 years coming up with the person you're married and you guys don't smile often, it's going to be a long 60 years, you know? That's one of the things I would say too to young men is our culture today is so adamantly against masculinity. They think masculinity is toxic masculinity. They straw man men as that, and then they attack that and tear it down. So men don't want to be men anymore. Men have become too okay, I think, with taking a back seat in the car analogy and just letting whoever wants to drive the car. But as a man, it's your job to step up and to drive. And I just think that's something that needs to be emphasized is the fact that as a man, you are called to be a leader spiritually in your household and naturally. Like, you're the one that makes the big financial decisions. You're the one that makes those decisions. And so if you're dating or you're preparing to date, make sure that you have your own house in order because you need to lead your wife and children to heaven. And if you're failing to even get yourself to heaven, then that's a real issue, right? So I'd also like to say, as far as docility goes, and maybe you can speak on this a little more, but it's just, I've seen the sacrifices that Jessica has made for me in that. And whenever she does sacrifice and give to my lead and allow me to lead her, I feel indebted to you in a certain way because I know the sacrifices that you've made for me and for our children. I see the sleepless nights that you have with our 1-month-old. I see how much of your liberty and your freedom that you give up to be my wife. And that's just something that it's beautiful to me. And it just inspires me to love you more. So I think the system is set up where, yes, you're called to make sacrifices, but those sacrifices that you make for one another are ultimately what gel you together, what keep you together, what keep you going. Because it's so natural to love you for doing those things for me. But I don't know if you have the same experience.
Being a mother, it's one thing to think about it, and I wanted it my whole life, but the intensity of living it day to day is much more than I ever imagined, actually. I have daily prayer intentions from all the sacrifices I'm making of, the sleepless nights, the doing laundry on the floor when you're 8 months pregnant, and the dishes and the screaming children that constantly want to touch you. These are the things that you don't consider. And if you handle it beautifully, because this is my job is to take care of the house. And on those hard days, I remind myself that this is the vocation of marriage and this is the cross that comes with it. And it becomes something beautiful. And I think of Mary being a homekeeper for St. Joseph and little Jesus. And she just quietly did her job in the house, and it was the most meritorious thing she could have done because that was her role.